Ladies and gentlemen, it's a big, weird, wild world out there, folks, and here we stand. Al pie del cañón, ready for anything. I'm Rob, that's Dan, and you're listening to
The ProBoh Show!
Good morning, everyone. Welcome. We are back after some technical difficulties. Still not as fluid as we would like to be. Poor Daniel can't interact as much as he might like. He can interact a bit. How are you doing in there, Dan?
I'm doing well.
It's nice to hear. Well, the thing is, we can't properly talk to each other, which is a shame. However, I can make the odd request. Hopefully that will be fixed today, though. I mean, we've been waiting for it to be fixed for the last 3 days, but today, hopefully, I'm told is the day everything in the studio gets back to working order. Let's see who's joining us, shall we, live in the audience. If you want to be as cool, as sexy, as charming, as handsome, as beautiful, as influential, as intellectual as our live audience, well, you can join us on twitch.tv/professional bohemian. twitch.tv/professional bohemian. That's Bohemio Profesional, pero en inglés. And, of course, you can interact with me on my Instagram, which is @professionalbohemian. Again, Bohemio Profesional, pero en inglés. Let's see who's joining us. We've immediately got Eugene here. He says, hi, guys. How are you doing, Eugene? Joining us all the way from Russia. We've got the bridge here. Good morning, my beautiful bonny bouncy Bohemians. I'm up and crushing. Missed you yesterday. Where were you? Just imagine I've been under the desk frantically trying to put cables together and making the radio work. I think in the end, the only show that's been affected has been mine, Dan. We had an afternoon of no radio, then the only show that's been affected, as it usually is mine. But anyway, I'm back now. You sound croaky. I am a little croaky. My voice is a little affected. I broke my toe. I'm not having a good week, friends. I broke my toe on, when was it? Not last night, the night before. So yeah, that's how my week's going. So if I sound a little croaky or grumpy, grugnon, that's why. Vero's here. She says, good morning, beautiful Bohemians around the universe and beyond. I didn't know the book fair starts tomorrow. Yeah, we're not at the book fair, though. First time in many, many years we haven't made an appearance. But you should go to the book fair. It's a lot of fun. Do you go to the book fair, Dan?
Yes, I usually go once a year.
Okay, what do you buy? What's your usual fare? Comics?
I usually go with people and I don't buy nothing.
Okay, that's what I like. Window shopping. How do you say window shopping in Spanish, actually? Ir de búsqueda o cotillando en las tiendas?
No, but I just go because they want to go, not because I want to.
Okay, anyway, let's continue, shall we? What's coming up in today's show? Great question. We're talking about Hollywood. When was the last time you went to the cinema? If you're anything like me, much less frequently than you used to go. I am looking to change that, though. I think there's a movie coming up, Backrooms, that I'm interested in seeing. With the lady. But yeah, none of us are going to the movies anymore. Let's try and fix cinema, shall we? Why not? Today's unpopular opinion is sex scenes in movies are unnecessary. Las escenas de sexo en las películas son innecesarias. Oh, I'm such a killjoy, Dan. And today's 100 Humans is name something that is important to have in a successful Hollywood movie. Nombra algo importante para que una película de Hollywood tenga éxito. There you go. That's today's unpopular opinion and 100 Humans. All of that coming up soon. Let's see. Good morning, beautiful Bohemians around the universe and beyond. We say ir de escaparates. Escaparates. Okay, thank you, Vero. And Bridge confirms. All right, should we get into some news? I think it's about that time, isn't it? Yeah, I did, by the way, I did literally break my little toe. Dedo de pie pequeño. It's not a finger on your foot, it's a toe. And I dropped a weight on it and I heard it snap. Pwah, pwah, pwah. It's currently like a little cherry tomato poking out of the bottom of my foot. Anyway, let's get into it. AI news. Sorry, Dan. OpenAI hires in preparation for AI that could train itself. OpenAI está contratando personal en preparación para una inteligencia artificial que podría enseñarse a sí misma. If you're thinking that sounds awfully like the plot of an apocalyptic sci-fi movie, yes, it does. It does, doesn't it? A little bit. Sound a little terrifying that AI could soon be responsible for its own training and creation. Yeesh, let's get into it. OpenAI is preparing for a future where artificial intelligence can help improve or even train better versions of itself. And that ambition is now shaping its hiring. According to the article, the company recently posted a role on its preparedness safety team offering, get this down, $295,000 to $445,000 a year for a researcher who can think strategically about the risks of recursive self-improvement. Dan, we're in the wrong industry. We should be in AI. Oh, cheesy Louise. So, recursive self-improvement. Yeah, what does that mean? It's essentially an AI that iteratively improves itself. So what's the danger of that, you might be asking? Well, if we're preparing for a world where AI can just train future versions of itself, then its learning and its guardrails all of a sudden come into question. What are guardrails? The rules and boundaries by which AI operates. Yeah, it's kind of worrying to me. Isn't this how the movie Terminator started? Jeezy Louise. The position reflects a broader shift towards AI labs as coding systems from OpenAI and Anthropic rapidly improve, making the idea of self-training AI feel less theoretical and more immediate. Sam Altman has already said OpenAI wants to build an automated AI research intern and eventually true automated AI researcher, even while acknowledging the company may not succeed. Yeah, OpenAI is an interesting case, isn't it? Because it was for a long time the benchmark in artificial intelligence, and now I believe has been taken over by Google Gemini and Anthropic's Claude is getting a lot of positive buzz. I think OpenAI suffered a little bit of a reputational hit when it came to signing a military agreement with the US military with regards to automated drones. Obviously, Anthropic or Claude kind of stuck their feet in the sand and said no. But a lot of companies just kind of said, yeah, rolled over on their bellies and said, yes, Mr. Trump, scratch my belly. I'm a good boy. Let's see, Rob, I think bruised or broken rib. Yeah, I think I bruised or broke a rib yesterday. I recognize the symptoms. Oh, I'm so sorry, Bridge. Yeah, I'm with you on this. My foot is currently throbbing. Okay. The article also makes clear that OpenAI is not only chasing that future, but trying to prepare for its dangers. The new role could involve defending models from data poisoning. Do you know what data poisoning is, Dan?
No.
That's when the data it consumes has some kind of information or some kind of malicious prompting in there that could release erroneous or dangerous information. And the more it trains itself, the more integrated that dangerous or malicious piece of information becomes, obviously, because it just iteratively keeps on being repeated and repeated. Anyway, sorry. Data poisoning. The new role would involve model reasoning, tracking down how much... Okay. Building tools to interpret model reasoning and tracking how much technical work AI systems are beginning to automate. That fits into a broader mission of OpenAI's preparedness team, which is focused on preventing severe harms tied to advanced AI, including cybersecurity, biological and chemical threats, and agentic risks. Taken together, the piece presents a picture of an industry racing towards more autonomous AI systems while also confronting the possibility that those same systems could become much harder to control. What is more worrying to me is agentic AI. The more intelligent and the more autonomous it becomes. First of all, agentic AI, what do I mean? I mean AI that can operate without the input of a human being. It's an independent agent. It has agency. It's autonomo, for the want of a better word, autonomous. And that's worrying to me, and we kind of imagine a future where AI trains itself. My God, the implications are terrifying, aren't they? I mean, we've all seen the Terminator 2, Judgment Day. It's kind of worrying. And let's finally finish off today's news with an interesting article from the BBC. Excessive social media negatively impacts well-being. El uso excesivo. What, Dan? What? Tell me.
No, I think it was obvious.
It is obvious, but it's interesting that the BBC is jumping on the bandwagon now. Obviously, the UK making strides now into banning it for young people. El uso excesivo de redes sociales impacta negativamente en el bienestar. Dan, are you still laying off social media?
Laying off means...
Means using it less.
I'm trying it.
How are you doing?
I'm doing
Bad. Yeah. How many hours a day?
If I don't know. It depends if I hang out with friends later or not. But
so when
hours.
So when left to your own devices, when you're alone, in those quiet moments, you reach for your phone. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I recognize the problem because I, as you know, I've been on that path of using social media less. And then what did I do? I opened up a Vaughan radio account. And now I'm using it all the time. Pwah, pwah, pwah. But I'm not using it. I'm posting. I'm being, I'm not kind of taking in any content. I'm more putting content out into the world, which is, I think, less harmful. I think the harm comes from comparison, from excessive intake of repeated messaging. I do want to talk about this. It's a shame I didn't do this as the first piece of news. But anyway, let's continue. A new article highlights the growing evidence that excessive social media use is linked to lower well-being, especially among young people in Western countries. Drawing on findings from the World Happiness Report from Oxford's Wellbeing Research Centre, researchers say social media can help people stay connected in moderation, but heavier use is associated with a greater loss of well-being. The report points to a sharp decline in happiness among under 25s in countries such as the US, Canada, Australia and the UK over the past decade, a period that also matches the rapid rise of social media platforms. The piece also explores the issue from a personal angle through fitness content creator Sydney Groves, who says social media has brought her meaningful opportunities and allowed her to build a positive online space. At the same time, she acknowledges the emotional toll of negative comments and the resilience needed to handle them. The research fellow Michael Plant argues that while social media is here to stay, people need to be more aware of how comparison and overuse affects their mental state and should focus on using these platforms in healthier, more genuinely social ways. Dan, have you ever received negative comments on anything you've posted?
No, not really.
I have.
Because I don't post too much.
Okay, I get you. I mean, I have quite, obviously, I'm quite a controversial figure in the radio or in the media in general. Even before I came to the radio, I was a writer for a New York blog, and then I had a very controversial comedy show, a very controversial theatre show. I've always kind of muddied my feet in the realms of controversy, so I'm no stranger to it. And you do need an unusually thick skin to be able to deal with criticism, even when you don't necessarily or aren't necessarily prepared for it. I think it behooves us all to recognize the imaginary nature. It's very easy to criticize using words on a screen, very difficult to do it face to face, right? I mean, I've been called all sorts. I mean, don't forget, I'm the only presenter on this radio station that's ever had a death threat. But all these things are to be taken with a pinch of salt, I think. When I went to the police with regards to that death threat, you know what they said to me? They said, don't worry about the ones who actually threaten you. Worry about the ones at home that are staying silent. Which was a terrifying thing to consider. Now, what are the main pushbacks against the dangers of social media? Now, you might recognize this, Dan. When people say, "Oh, I'm sick of getting on the metro and seeing people and seeing everybody with their face buried in a mobile phone," and then some bright spark will say, "Oh, well, before that, people had their face buried in books," right? Which is nonsense, isn't it? Really? I mean, is there any damage to reading a book? No, but in excess. If the library you went to figured out that you like true crime dramas and then only fed you true crime drama and that every second of your life you were being manipulated by a library algorithm to believe that you're going to be murdered or that crime is around every corner, then it would be quite dangerous, wouldn't it? I think you'd agree. There are several like malicious and malignant things with regards to or processes in social media to be considered, and it's about time that our governments kind of took steps to mitigate those dangers. I think you'd agree. But again, like with social media, another little social experiment we launched into the world without really studying the effects. I worry that AI and agentic AI might be a little bit the same as we barrel headfirst down the road of technological process without ever stopping to think, is this dangerous? Food for thought. Let's move on to today's unpopular opinion.
Unpopular opinion.
Out of curiosity, Bridge, how did you hurt your rib yesterday? What happened? Anyway, today's unpopular opinion with regards to Hollywood, we're talking about sex scenes in movies. Are they necessary? Does it aid the story? Or is it mere titillation to see the latest starlet nude? I mean, come on, have we not moved past the time that we need to hurry around the TV just for that particular sex scene? I mean, come on. Are they really necessary? That's the question we're asking today. Sex scenes in movies are unnecessary, is the unpopular opinion. Las escenas de sexo en las películas son innecesarias. How do you think they voted on Instagram, Dan?
I think they voted true.
They did vote. No, they didn't. Sorry, my lie. False. 58% of people voted false. 42% voted true. It kind of begs the question, why? Doesn't it? I mean, what kind of movies are you guys watching? Bum. If you're watching your movies on a very particular website, then yeah, they're necessary. Part of the remit, you might say. But here we're talking about Hollywood movies, aren't we? At what point has there been, name one sex scene where it actually drove the plot of the movie forward? If you spend over 5 minutes thinking about it, or over 20 seconds thinking about it, then probably you're talking about the exception to the rule. If it doesn't automatically spring to mind, oh, well, this sex scene, obviously, it was vital to the plot. Yeah. Anyway, shall we get into it, Dan? Very quickly, how do you personally feel about this?
I think they are, most of them, unnecessary.
Okay. Most of them. Can you think of one that was necessary?
No.
Okay, well, there you go. See, there's the thing. I don't think that I come across these unpopular opinions without first asking people questions. I always do. And with this one in particular, I always hear, no, well, most of them are unnecessary, but, not all. Okay, which one is necessary to the plot to drive the story forward? Creak, 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 creak. The sound of crickets overwhelms the room. So let's get into it, shall we? False, they said on Instagram. So let's get into the con section. Bridge, Dan, I'm sorry to be reading this out to your sensitive ears. Bridge, I asked, how did you break a rib? She said, bending over to screw. I think she meant screw using a screwdriver. Tornillo. I don't think she meant the other kind of meaning of screw. Kids, if you're listening in the car, you can ask your mum and dad about that. That'll be fun. All right. So the con section saying sex scenes can serve an important artistic purpose. Sex is a part of human life. Relationships, desire, vulnerability, and intimacy are central human experiences. Excluding them can feel artificial. Dan, can you name one scene in any movie where the lead character is taking a poo?
No.
I would call that a pretty essential human experience, something that we all share, something we all do. You get very few scenes in movies where you see people having a pee, or scenes where just a character is having a sleep. Why is sex, one of those universal human experiences, excluded and shone a spotlight on to say, no, this is important. Everyone needs to see this. I think the answer is clear, isn't it? For our own titillation, but it isn't necessarily vital to the plot. Physical intimacy reveals character. The way characters behave sexually can expose power dynamics, insecurity, affection, manipulation, or emotional distance. Okay, this is where I have to shove my own brakes on. Movies like Basic Instinct, things like that. Yeah, it's kind of part of the character arc, isn't it? Where you reveal parts of the character. My point here is that you can say those things, all those things, in other ways, can't you? Expose power dynamics, insecurities, affection, manipulation, emotional distance. All those things can be communicated in other ways. Emotion sometimes requires embodiment. Certain stories lose impact if intimacy is only implied rather than experienced with the characters. There's a really interesting interview with Alfred Hitchcock, and I think it was about the movie North by Northwest. And he said it's the first sex scene he ever did. And you know, the sex scene is just a train going through a train tunnel. You can imply sex without necessarily showing it. Again, if it is a vital human experience that needs to be shared, then why aren't there more scenes in the bathroom? You know? Art shouldn't be limited by discomfort. Films explore violence, grief, fear, and love visually. Sexuality can be another legitimate aspect of storytelling. Yeah, it can be. But there are other universal human experiences that we don't get to see on screen. I mean, I would argue, look, if we were talking here, like, what is more damaging to people in movies? Is it violence or sex? It's going to be violence for me 100% of the time. But don't get me wrong, I'm a human being, a hot-blooded human being. And, you know, do I shrug away or shy away when a sex scene is happening? No. Of course not. I experience titillation, a little bit of excitement. Ooh, look at this. But is it necessary to the plot, friends? I mean, is it necessary? I wouldn't remove sex scenes, but I can't argue that they're necessary. Anyway, let's continue. Not all sex scenes are explicit or gratuitous. Some are subtle, emotionally important, and integral to the narrative. Yeah, and again, I would ask any of you out there for a sex scene that is integral to the narrative. So vitally important that if removed, the movie doesn't make sense. Is there one? Can you think of one? Can you think of one that isn't Basic Instinct that I've just said right now? Probably not. Anyway. Yeah, you know what I'm going to get now, Dan? I'm going to get about 1,000 Instagram messages of people sending me links to dirty movies. I can just see it. All right, let's get into the pro column now, shall we? Where 42% of our people voted today. Pro column saying sex scenes are often unnecessary. Most scenes don't advance the plot. Many sex scenes communicate information the audience already understands, that the characters are attracted to each other. Yeah, do you need to hammer that point home? Sorry for the visual language there, but do you really need to? Can feel performative or gratuitous. Some films include sexual content primarily for shock value, marketing, or audience attention rather than storytelling. Poorly integrated scenes can interrupt tension, momentum, or emotional flow. Suggestion, dialogue, and chemistry often communicate relationships more powerfully than explicit depiction. And it's worth saying, look, not everyone is as liberal or as open-minded as me and you, dear listener. There are going to be people who have suffered discomfort watching these scenes. Watching intimate scenes in theatres or with family can feel awkward and distract from the film itself. Like, don't forget, I was raised with my grandparents and sat down with Grandma Bo. Watching a movie and a sex scene appeared was never a pleasant experience, let me tell you that. Final point in the pro column. Streaming era overuse. Critics argue many modern shows use explicit scenes as default realism rather than meaningful narrative tools. We've all seen it. Gratuitous nudity. Violence. Yeah, sure, we're adults. We're allowed to see that kind of thing. Would I remove those scenes? No, probably not. I'm just like you. I like to see a naked form occasionally too. But are they necessary? That's today's unpopular opinion. Sex scenes in movies are unnecessary. True or false? Las escenas de sexo en las películas son innecesarias. True or false? I'm going to post a poll in the chat, and you, my friends, you will vote. I will see you in just a few minutes. Hey guys, if you'd like to support the show, you can do so on Patreon. That's patreon.com/professional bohemian. There you'll find VODs of the episodes as they are recorded live, blogs, vlogs, and behind-the-scenes content. If you'd like to watch the show live, you can do so on twitch.tv/professional bohemian, and you can participate in the polls we use in the show on Instagram @professional bohemian or Twitter @ProBoh, PROBOH. Okay, on with the show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. It's now 9 a.m. Central European Time, and you're listening to me and somewhat stiltedly our poor Dan in there, whose headphones don't work. How's it going, Dan?
It's going fine.
It's going fine. Okay, I'm glad. All right, should we see what we've missed if we just tuned in? If you just tuned in, we looked at how OpenAI is preparing for a future where AI bots or AI can just help improve or even train better versions of itself. That feels to me like the start of a snowball that we may be not prepared for societally, culturally. Quite worrying. And we also looked at an interesting report from the BBC, how it highlights a World Happiness Report from Oxford University, highlighting the dangers of social media. Again, something that I harp on about a lot. But the more I think about it, the more I talk about it, the more people I interface with regards to social media, the more convinced I am that 16 is not young enough to ban people. I would ban people from under the age of 21. In fact, until the brain is fully developed. At what point is that? I think it's 21, right? You're welcome, Dan. You're 22. I think before the age of 21, we're just not prepared for that level or that kind of interaction. I really don't. And until we can trust algorithms and algorithmically fed content, I wouldn't be subjecting it on our children. There you go. That's quite an extreme tact to take, but that's where I'm at right now. Do you have a different idea in mind? Let me know. You can do that on my Instagram or right here in the audience, twitch.tv/professional bohemian. You still have time to vote on today's unpopular opinion, which is sex scenes in movies are unnecessary. Las escenas de sexo en las películas son innecesarias. A tough one today. It's an interesting one today because I would not remove sex scenes from movies. I wouldn't. I mean, look, I'm a human being. There is, believe it or not, blood coursing through my veins, not ice water or antifreeze, as some people believe. A lot of caffeine, but it's still blood. I wouldn't remove them because I think we all, if we're honest with ourselves, most of us enjoy watching the odd sex scene, right? But I can't sit here and in all good consciousness argue that they're necessary because they're not, are they? That's why there are certain websites out there exist where they understand that people like them so much they remove every other aspect of a movie: plot, character development, acting, direction, They don't need a love story, a soundtrack, special effects. They don't need an all-star cast. It's just two strangers engaged in the act. So much so do we enjoy watching sex. I mean, I hate to put it that frankly to you, but it's a fact. But is it necessary in movies? Of course it's not necessary. It doesn't mean I enjoy it less, but it's not necessary. I wouldn't remove them or change them. Neither would I extend them or add more. I think we've got a great mix right now. But I'm not going to sit here and say, oh no, they're totally necessary when I know in my heart that they're not. Interesting. Have we changed? So you were false on this one, right? You were a false, but where are you at right now, Dan?
I don't think they are necessary. I mean, I know they tell part of the story, but you can omit them.
If you remove a sex scene, does it change the movie? It doesn't. And the things communicated in a sex scene, power dynamics or attraction, it can be done in other ways, right? And normally, let's face it, friends, normally that visual communication isn't kind of engaged in the sex scene. It's only reinforced, right? I mean, why are they in movies? Because we like watching them. Look, let's just throw our hands up in the air and admit we're all human beings, you know? So it's an interesting one today, and I, like you, Dan, agree that they're not really necessary. But here's the question, Dan. Would you remove sex scenes from movies?
No.
No, exactly. And there's nothing wrong with throwing your hands up in the air and saying, no, of course I wouldn't. I enjoy watching a little bit of titillating action on the big screen. You know? Yeah. What annoys me is the fact that we have to be so puritanical with these things. It's either yes or no, black or white. No, I can admit they're unnecessary, but I can also admit that when one comes on the screen and I'm sat there with my girlfriend, I'm thinking, oh yeah. Nothing wrong with it. Look, we can all admit to being humans, right? All right. Let's get into some comments. The bridge is further elaborated on how she hurt herself. Bending over to insert a key into a gate to my house. I had stuck it had stuck the gate. My rib cage seemed it cannot take the exertions. Well, look after yourself, Bridge. I, as you know, broke 6 ribs, and it was very, very painful. Anyway, Vero says true. Not always explicit sex scenes are needed to show the character's feelings. There are many ways to show them without using sex. Also, I remember a scene from Only Fools Rush In where Salma Hayek's character poos in front of Matthew Perry's character. Yeah, okay. See, this is what I was worried that would happen, Dan. Is that I say something, and the exception to the rule is, oh, what about in this movie? Those are exceptions, aren't they? Okay, what was the poo scene in in Terminator? Name one other necessary sex scene other than Basic Instinct. Yeah. It's not as evident or as clear cut. I mean, we can all point to exceptions, can't we? Because that's what makes them exceptions. It's a tough one. Go on, Dan. You were going to show me something, weren't you?
I was going to say there's another movie with a pop scene, but no.
Go on, which movie?
Torrente.
Torrente, oh God.
But I don't think it counts, though.
And also the movie Dumb and Dumber.
Well, too many exceptions, no?
Come on, dude. In major Hollywood movies, or in most movies, you don't see poop scenes. Again, a vital part of the human experience. If you stop pooing, you go to the doctor, don't you? I mean, it's a shared experience that we have all had and we all engage in. You know, but it's we don't have them in movies because it's not as pleasant to look at. Let's be honest. Hence, I find it very difficult to argue in favour or saying that sex scenes are necessary when I know in my heart, at least in my heart, I don't think that they are. Of course, that's just an opinion, but I'm here to read your opinions, not tell you mine. All right, let's get into some messages I received on Instagram. By the way, thank you for your concern. It was not a health issue that took me off the radio. It was a technical one. Damien Lekeruk, I think that's probably an Instagram handle. A lot of them do feel forced. Que son esforzado, right? Like they're added because filmmakers think every movie needs one. I mean, increasingly less. I think streaming movies tend to kind of hammer those home, don't they? But increasingly less in Hollywood. I mean, in my favourite genre of movies, outside the 80s, you very rarely see sex scenes anymore, right? In horror, which is my favourite genre right now. Haley Brooks, writing to us again, says, I disagree. Intimacy can reveal a lot about characters and relationships when it's done well. What can it reveal about the characters? That they've got a birthmark on their ass. Come on, dude. Haley, let's be honest. They're fun to look at. I mean, everything that's said in a sex scene can be said in a myriad of other ways. Haley, I'm with you. I like to look at them too. It's okay. You know, it doesn't make you a freak. It doesn't make you some kind of a perverted person that you enjoy watching the odd sex scene in a movie. It doesn't. But we can also hold our hands up in the air and say, well, look, they're not really necessary. Nikos Andreu says, most sex scenes could probably be implied instead of shown so explicitly. I mean, here's the thing, Dan. Me and you, we have no horse in this race, really. We don't have to suffer those awkward moments. Like, imagine if I had a kid and I'm watching some movie and all of a sudden a gratuitous sex scene comes on the screen and I have to explain to the kid, or I have to meaningfully avoid eye contact like I used to do when I was a kid watching movies with my grandma. It's just the worst, isn't it? But of course, that's why there are age ratings on movies and why we try and respect them, right? Celia Vargas says, it depends on the story. Some feel meaningful, others feel completely pointless. Okay, so let me just walk back my idea of an exception that proves a rule, shall I? A little bit. Because of course, there are movies where the sex scenes have gone to illustrate parts of the plot. Again, I'm going to drag out that famous scene from Basic Instinct. You know, there are parts, but let's face it. The movie Basic Instinct, if you cast your mind back to I think it was the late 90s, early 2000s, I can't remember quite clearly. It was promoted as a highly sexualized film. You know, one of the most common feedback, negative reviews on the movie 50 Shades of Grey was that the sex scenes weren't explicit enough. It's not as dirty as the novel. I mean, look, people from now until forever will be titillated by naked bodies. And there's nothing wrong with that. In my mind. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just part of being human, isn't it? I mean, and it goes beyond our sexual proclivities or our sexual orientation. I mean, a naked body is always going to get our attention, and we're always going to have a little either giggle or a little steamy moment there where we want to put the air conditioning on. But it's fine. That's fine to admit. I'm here with you. Like, I admit that. Right? But we can also admit, is it necessary? Nah, probably not. Probably not. I mean, look, are movies in themselves necessary? You could read a book if you wanted to. One of my favorite horror writers, kind of the British version of Stephen King, but a much better writer. You've heard. I don't know if you've ever heard this show before, but I do criticize Stephen King because he's really great at writing the middle of a book and really terrible at ending one. James Herbert is the author I'm talking about. He very prolific writer. Books like The Fog, Rats, or the Rats series, Magic Cottage, a lot of them. In every single one of his books, there is a dirty, salacious sex scene. And I remember him being interviewed once about that very topic. It came up, like, why do you always write such explicit sex scenes? And his answer was beautiful, because people enjoy reading them. You know? Is it necessary to the plot of his books? No, probably not. But people enjoy reading them, so I'm going to keep on writing them. Anyway, should we get to the results of the poll? I think it would behoove us to do so. So we made the unpopular opinion. Sex scenes in movies are unnecessary. Las escenas de sexo en las películas son innecesarias. And you guys said 67% true. Yeah, I don't always get as literal with the unpopular opinions as I've done today. Again, my objective 9 times out of 10 is to always sway the vote from however we were on Instagram. I mean, but as we're approaching the end of today's unpopular opinion, I have to be a bit more reasonable, don't I? I have to be a little bit more reasonable. Look, what is necessary in a movie? To entertain? To educate, perhaps, to some degree? To titillate? To capture the imagination? To transport you to another place and time? I mean, I think maybe, here's where I walk myself back 100%. I think maybe if the purpose of movies is to entertain us, and we enjoy collectively, we recognize that people enjoy watching sex scenes, well, isn't that in itself kind of necessary? If it's entertaining, if it's something that transports us away from our daily grind, isn't that kind of necessary? Isn't that what Hollywood exists for? I know I've just sat here arguing the true side of this argument for the last half an hour. But again, I'm not here to tell you what to think, just encouraging you to think, right? This is a show about critical thinking. When I analyze my own opinions quite often, I find myself always lost in the nuance, las matices, in the shades of grey. And if I watch a movie to entertain me or scare me or make me laugh, to transport me away from my daily grind, and a sex scene does that, well, isn't that necessary? Isn't that why we watch movies in the first place? Food for thought, isn't it, friends? But you know what Grandpa Bo would say about all that, right? He'd say, Rob, that's just your opinion, and opinions, they're like buttholes. Everyone has one. They all stink, including mine. Let's move on to today's 100 Humans. Oh my God. It was a long walk to work today across snow-capped mountains and through river valleys, and on that walk I encountered 100 humans and I asked them all a question. Today's question was, name something that is important to have in a successful Hollywood movie. Nombra algo importante para que una película de Hollywood tenga éxito. Successful Hollywood movie. I asked them that question, they gave me their answers. I'm in possession of the top 7 answers. Your job in the audience is to identify those top 7 answers. Big thank you to Ivan GP, Ivan Samaroff, MP Contel, Raj, Mia, Annika San, Crystal, Carlos, and many, many others. All right. Dan, name something important in a successful Hollywood movie.
Good ending.
Ooh, you were so close. I can't give it to you, Dan. And immediately in the chat, Eugene, a good sex scene. Is it there? No, can't give it to you. All right. Jeezy, Louise. Yeah, Carlos also said a good sex scene. Come on. Crystal says dogs. Jeez Louise, guys. Okay. I wish you guys would take this seriously. Let's see. Good characters, says Ivan GP. Good characters. I mean, look, an ending, character development, they all go to feed something. Independently, I can't give you those answers. Good characters, I cannot give you. Good answer, though. A good answer. I do think it's important for a Hollywood movie. Ivan Samaroff says action. Action. No, I can't give it to you. Vero says a big budget. A big budget. Seems to be, doesn't it? Seems to be that Hollywood is more dedicated to spending billions than it is to give us the other thing. Sorry, I nearly gave you a big clue there. Necessary for a big Hollywood movie. Is a big budget there? No, it's not. Oh, guys, we're not doing too well, are we? Well, Vero here says, famous actors. Famous actors. We could also say a star cast. Reparto famoso. A star cast. Is that there? Yes, it is. We're off the board, friends. A star cast. Well done. All right, what else do we have? Good photography. Good photography. Oh, I'm sorry. I know you hate it when I do this, Dan. I know I'm not going to... You know what, Dan? I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to... Yeah, no, photography's not there. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Bridge says, a good musical score. A good musical score. Is a good score there? Well, we would call that a soundtrack, right? Banda sonora. Is a good soundtrack there? Yes, it is, Bridge. Well done. Soundtrack is there. It's the 5th most popular answer, with 10 of 100 humans saying a soundtrack. Vero says a good plot. A good plot. A plot. Well, we would call that like a good storyline, right? Buena historia. Is that there? Yes, it is. Oh, my God. And friends, look who's just joined us in the studio. It's the one and only Fitz from No Excuses. How are you doing, Fitz?
Good morrow.
Good morrow, sir. We're
Good
talking
morrow.
about things that are necessary for a successful Hollywood movie. Algo importante para una película de Hollywood que tenga éxito. What do you think?
I think you need a couple of stars, right?
Yeah, that was there. Star
Yeah.
cast, 7th most popular answer. Vero again says star. Sorry, Bridge says stars. Let me turn back to my friends on Instagram. Raj says acting. You need acting.
Yep.
Actuación,
Yep.
right? Is acting there? Yes, it is. Well done. He did say more things. Both Mia and Raj said a good director. Un director, I think you say, right? Dirección is the act of directing. Is dirección there? Yes, it is. Well done. Okay, Hollywood movies. Mainly, I think, in the Marvel movies, modern movies today, Fitz. You know, what are film studios just spending millions on? To take us away, transport us to other worlds. You see these big explosions. You see things that aren't really there. What do we call that?
Like,
What do you think, Dan?
Chroma?
Chromas? Well, chroma is a part of this whole world of
Visual effects?
visual effects. Or we would say, actually, colloquially, special effects.
Special effects, yeah.
Effectos speciales, is that there?
what is it? CGI?
CGI is digital special effects. Vero here in the audience, she says visual effects too. Is special effects there? Yes, it is. Well done, friends. Now, a bunch of you said sex scenes. because that's what we were talking about today, whether they are necessary or not. But sex scenes, there is always a subplot in a lot of these movies, a subplot that is often unnecessary as well. You know, guy meets girl. Well, when the movie really has nothing to do with that. It
Yeah.
could be a political thriller or a horror movie, but you always have a guy meets girl subplot. What do we call that? What do we call that, Dan? What do we call that?
Like a romantic subplot kind of thing?
Yeah, or a love story.
Love story, yeah.
Yeah, Eugene got it. Well done. Love story. It's there. Well done, friends. Oh my God, guys. You have completed today's 100 Humans. What a good return we have to the show. Well done, guys. Let's go through the list. I asked 100 humans to name something that is important to have in a successful Hollywood movie. Nombra algo importante para que una película de Hollywood tenga éxito. In position number 7, we had a star cast. A reparto famoso. 9 of 100 humans said that. In position number 6, also with 9 of 100 humans, special effects. Efectos especiales. In position number 5, we had soundtrack, banda sonora. Favorite movie soundtrack, Fitz?
Oh, I think it might be Last of the Mohicans.
Oh, brilliant. Mine personally, any of the Sergio Leone movies,
Oh, yeah.
Ennio Morricone.
Wow, wow.
Yeah, brilliant.
Oh.
In position number 4, we had direction. Good or bad, it's still necessary, isn't it? Dirección, un director. Dirección is there, 10 of 100 humans. In position number 3, we had acting. Acting, actuación, 23 of 100 humans. And finally, in position number 1, we have a good storyline. What's wrong, Dan? Tell me.
You skip it number 2.
I said acting, didn't I?
Well, then you skip it 1 number.
Oh, well. It was direction in 3, acting in 2, and good storyline. I'm going to listen to the replay, and I'm going to be very annoyed if I did miss one. If I didn't miss one, Dan. Just so you know. All right, friends. Well, look at that. Just a little bit of housekeeping for what's coming up and what's going on with regards to the Vaughan Radio universe. On the 2nd of June at 8 p.m., we have the Vaughan Radio Trivia Night, hosted by the one and only Alberto Alonso at 8 p.m. Apparently, the Pope is coming on the between the 6th and the 9th. So don't worry. Alberto Alonso will not be affected. He was going to come on the 2nd, Fitz, but I gave him a call.
Yeah, he's busy. And apparently, I realized Bad Bunny is doing 10 consecutive concerts.
I had never heard a single one of his songs.
I don't think I have either. But obviously, people have.
Yeah.
It's going to be something like, I'm not sure if it's almost 500,000 people will see his concerts just in Madrid.
Craziness.
He's a very bad bunny, as Mr. Trump. They hate each other, by the way.
Yeah, they do.
I love it.
They do.
He's a bad bunny.
So we have that coming up on the 2nd of June. We also have a brand new Instagram account. That's @Vaughan Radio on Instagram. There are videos and content going up on that all the time. Don't miss it. All your Vaughan Radio news and events will be promoted there. Of course, the second episode of Linda Scaperotto's Tell Me Your Story is on this Saturday at 4 p.m. I don't want you to miss that. One of our flagship shows. Very popular lady.
Yes, sir.
And a contact of yours, Fitz.
That's right.
Bringing the stars right here to Vaughan Radio. Look at that, Mr. Fitzgerald.
I contacted the Iberians.
Contacted the Iberians. Which, if you weren't aware already, is every single Wednesday, friends. Every single Wednesday at 9:30 to 10:30, so don't miss that. Okay, guys, I'm going to take a little break now, leave you in the capable hands of Fitz with no excuses. Friends, I will see you next time.